Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm down until I see him pop back up. How is everybody tonight? We are war. We are resilient. And I'm going to bring onto the stage our first guest here tonight. And we have got...
Oh, my words. I live and breathe. Colonel Notch. Good evening, sir.
Gentlemen, good evening. Great to be here and great to be able to celebrate 500 shows for you, Travis.
Thank you very much. You've been a part of that. Absolutely.
Yep.
In multiple,
Thank you.
Multiple veteran service organizations. And now with the Office of the Veteran Advocate. I saw a truck at the Brockton VA a couple weekends ago.
Great. It's good. We got folks out everywhere making the connections.
Absolutely. And isn't that what it's about, sir? And it's still the human connection with the person in front of you and understanding where they're coming from and how you all fit into that.
It is. We get farther away from that, I think. These days, it's too easy to jump on a phone call or a video call instead of getting there in person. But, there's value in all of it. But sometimes, especially when folks are really struggling to connect and get some assistance, you need the face-to-face to be able to really understand where they're coming from and be able to read that body language and ask some more questions when you see they're not quite getting to the root cause.
For sure, absolutely. I think for people out there, we met. You're with a different organization. Name escapes me. I'm totally drawing a blank.
Brighton Marine?
No. It's
the Veterans Collaborative, probably.
Thank you. Sorry, sir.
No worries.
And that was about bringing veterans together. And then you joined the Office of the Veteran Advocate. We talked about both of them.
Yes.
I guess I still want to know, since I got you on here, in your mind, what challenges are facing the veteran now than say 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Is it still pretty much the same thing, or has the missionscape changed at all?
I think in some respects the challenges are the same, but when you get out there and you have the conversations, everyone is a unique person and everyone has unique challenges, and that's part of being there in person to be able to understand the specific needs and see if you can find a unique solution to that. But I think overall, the challenges seem to be the same. It's part of what the Veterans Collaborative was doing, and certainly is part of what we're doing in the Office of the Veteran Advocate. And that is let's take a look at some of the solutions we're putting together on a systemic level. What are the in our role where we do government to government work, it is which laws were passed and are those laws having the impact that we expected? Or can we do things a little differently? And our goal is to work with the agencies that are responsible for implementing and kind of figure out, is it working? Can we tweak this a little bit? What other improvements are needed? And if we can make those improvements at the organization level, we do. And if that requires more legislation, then we have the conversations to the state leadership to say, hey, let's try and do something differently. So a lot of those issues are the same. Some of these are very tough issues. Suicide prevention. Those things are taking a long time to find some real valuable solutions that work. I mean, we've been talking about the numbers for years. As long as I've been out and working in the veteran space, that's 10 years now. And how much have we moved the needle? We're doing pretty well here in Massachusetts, but I don't know how we're doing across the country. And there's potentially some ways we can improve things here at home as well.
One of the things that I want to ask you about is, and we talked about this when I had you on, was the aspect of, can the veteran join the military, come back to Massachusetts, and raise a family? And it seems like a small thing, but several veterans I talked with like the idea that, hey, if they drove a dragon wagon, you know what that is, a 5-ton, 7-ton, that the pathway to a CDL would be easier than what it has been. And I run into that, myself, not having, all the paperwork to do something. Do you think it's those kinds of things, maybe not that specifically, but, making the pathways into the trades maybe, or the union easier? Is that kind of, a way we can advocate better?
Potentially. So I'll share one of the areas that we want to look at from the Office of the Veteran Advocate perspective is state jobs. So
Okay.
if you look, the state tracks demographics on how it's doing unemployment for minority groups, and veterans are considered one of those groups. And the goal out that the state has is 7% of state employees would be veterans. Now, not everyone self-identifies as a veteran for whatever reason that may be, so the numbers may be low, but it's somewhere a little around 3% currently that are employed at state, local government level. An area we're going to focus on is that the right number? If you look at the demographics for Massachusetts, about 3.5% of the population in Massachusetts are veteran. But we know that that's skewed to the older veteran. So if you look
Yeah.
at age groups, if you look at 65 and older, it's veterans are about 10% of that population. And if
Okay.
you look lower than that, which is what we would consider the working age population, it's only about 2%. So one of the things we want to look at is a 7% goal the right goal when only 2% of the working population are veterans themselves? And if it is the goal, then are we doing the right things to connect with transitioning service members outside of Massachusetts? Because we have this conversation with some of the state agencies about helping recruit for veterans. And we ask, well, where are you looking? Well, I'm going to this job fair in Massachusetts, and this job fair in Massachusetts, and this job fair in Massachusetts. And I said, well, you need to expand beyond that. It's like you need to get connected to the transition points across the globe. You need to work with GI jobs, and I think most people see that magazine when they go to the transition point. You you can advertise in GI jobs, and they also have a web page that will help
Really?
get the information out about your business. And
Well,
so what we're trying to do is say, hey, let's expand the reach. Let's go out and try and bring people to Massachusetts that maybe have never lived here before, and let's bring that working age number up.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're looking at a very, very broad picture at many types of jobs at the government level, and then but you could also apply that at the civilian level too.
Sure.
That'd be awesome
Sure.
to see an increase of veterans coming into the state.
And that's one of the areas that we're looking at too, right? Our total number of veterans is decreasing every year by about 8,000 veterans a year. If you look at the VA's numbers, and a goal we have is can we stop that? And eventually, can we reverse that number? Would love to see more veterans come to Massachusetts.
Well, awesome, awesome. It's just great to see you. Mikey kind of surprised me with all this. So I'm very, I feel like it's Christmas, and it's always great talking with you. I can tell everybody on the stream that, when there's a veterans event in Massachusetts, regardless, the Office of the Veteran Advocate has people in those areas at those events working to, one, tell people what the Office of the Veteran Advocate does, but also, hey, maybe can I help? Can I listen? And you know, a couple weekends ago at Brockton, it was nice having a few minutes with Truck Sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have phenomenal folks on the team. And the approach we take is we may not be able to answer the issue, but our goal is to at least connect you to the right person who can, and make
Yeah.
sure that that connection is made. So we're doing the best we can, and we're getting out there. But I'm really here tonight to celebrate you, Travis, and your 500 episodes of Oscar Mike, And yes, I've been on the show, but you've had many, many, many more people on, and the show reaches veterans and service members and family members, and it's about sharing what you've learned and sharing those people, those contacts that you've connected with, and getting that information out there. And you're making a huge difference, and I thank you for it. Most recently, I really thank you for a lot of the information you're putting out about the Office of the Veteran Advocate, so people understand more of what we do and how unique we are. Massachusetts is the only state that has an active Office of the Veteran Advocate. So people wouldn't know that unless they, if they had not listened to your show, or if they had not gone to an event and caught you and then eventually caught some of our folks. So I just want to say from our entire team, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for supporting veterans and their families and being part of this huge connected network of people that are trying to make a difference for their brothers and sisters that they served with. So thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you
always,
very much for being on.
thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
All right, our next member, you may know, Travis. Here's our next guest coming up.
I'm telling you, it's hard to surprise him. Like, you're doing a pretty good job of it. Who is next?
Hello, hello.
Are you on?
I am. Let me send him a quick text to say,
Go lay down, Jose. Go. Go lay down. All right, go lay down with Dad. Let's come.
all right. And we've got a good chat in the crowd going over here. And I think you might know this gentleman here.
I believe I do.
Man, I tell you what, talk about getting caught with my pants down. Let me tell you. Hey, I just wanted to come on here and before you guys wrap up, and I have to podcast. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize you, Travis. You've truly made a difference in the veteran community. Today marks Travis's 500th episode. Holy crap. Think about that for a second. 500 episodes of showing up, giving veterans a platform, sharing stories, educating, encouraging, and reminding people that our veterans matter. Travis, congratulations on reaching this incredible milestone. 500 episodes isn't just a number, man. It's 100 of hours of dedication, sacrifice, commitment, and something much bigger than yourself. It's thousands of lives you've touched, conversations you've started, and veterans that you've helped feel seen and heard. On a personal note, I want to thank you. You have inspired me more than you probably realize. Watching your consistency, your passion, your commitment to serving veterans has challenged me to become a better broadcaster and a better advocate for those that serve our nation. Your work reminds us all that one voice really can make a difference. So from me, everybody here at Military Broadcast Radio, I just want to say congratulations on your 500th episode. We celebrate as a team your achievement. We appreciate everything you've done for the veteran community, and we're excited to see what the next 500 episodes will be. Keep making a difference. Keep telling the stories that matter. And thank you for everything that you do, nation, our veterans. Congratulations, my friend. I mean, I can't stress it enough. The normal person that does a podcast, they stop after 8 shows. You've been doing this. You've been doing this almost as long as I have. I like to say that I invented it, but maybe you invented it, But, DV Radio couldn't be here, but I know Bo would say the same thing. Travis, you're amazing, and I'm glad to be your partner in crime, and I appreciate you, dude. You're making a difference. You're showing those ripples.
Just like I said, Mikey's really surprised me tonight. It's hard to do. So I'm just dumbfounded right now. I appreciate, it's kind of hard when you think about it, what's been going on, and I know that you're there, and I remember when you got profiled by the VA, what an achievement that was, and we've grown together, and so I'm excited for MBR. I think one of the highlights of this year was meeting Tracer in Arlington, and what a great experience that was. We're just going to keep doing it, man. We're getting stronger, we're getting bigger every day.
We are. We really are. We
Oh.
even have a mascot. So yeah, we are.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well,
Awesome,
thank
man.
you guys for inviting me. I appreciate it. And Travis, I got a bunch of crap going on with my teeth, but I wanted to get on here and make sure that, I told you that I was proud of you.
Thank you very much, man. Much love.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you guys.
Oh, wow, man. Oof.
All right. I got a couple folks that weren't able to make it that did want to share some words. So I want to make sure I get to them real quick.
Sure.
So I've got over at TNT Pinco. I believe
Yeah. I
a
served with her.
female veteran over there.
Yeah.
She says, "Good morning. Not sure we were around at the time, but so happy for Travis. Please share. P-Dog, the master of polar bear attack, or whatever you called that annoying move you used to do. I couldn't be more proud of you and your accomplishments. You do more for veterans than anyone could have ever imagined. Your dedication to veterans all around is inspiring, and you never waver, even when going through your own trials and tribulations. You deserve a prestigious medal for all you've done and continue to do. I am honored to be your friend and Marine Corps sister. Serving alongside you was a privilege, even when you were annoying me most days. I
You
love
should
you.
annoy
Congrats on
me.
500. Damn, you're good."
She was annoying me. No, much. That's a good one right there. She has been there for me through thin and thick. Thank you, Tammy. Super fine.
And Bob said you tried to hang out, but he got dropped. He says, "Congratulations again, and thank you, Travis, for everything."
Absolutely, sir. No problem at all.
And Andrea Gail Bennett said she had a last minute meeting come up, but she is grateful for everything that you've been able to do for the Executive Office of Veteran Services and her having on the show several times.
Yeah, Deputy Secretary has just been a really great story, interesting perspective based on her career, not only in the Army National Guard, but also for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we have the same hairstyle, and I guess I'd let you give me. I can't believe I'm saying this. I guess I'd let you give me a shot. I cannot believe I just said that. Whew.
And then want to share a couple of the things that we made to promote tonight. So if you guys saw earlier tonight, we had this was the ad to come into the show. So we took AI and we asked it to run 100 words and themes from the 500 episodes that Travis has had, well, the 499 so far, and then the one tonight. And this is what it came up with, and we'll be able to put it into an image that looks like his logo.
Yeah. So about tonight, if do you have anybody else coming on?
I am checking. I do not see any. I do not see any other confirmation. So it is you and I from here.
So tonight, one of the things, I was really kind of like, hey, you got to do this big thing about you and, your show and what you've done, blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to do that. for a lot of reasons. I want to do something different. And so every 100 shows, about 8 years ago, Mistress Carrie, the former WAAF DJ with the purple hair, came on my show and talked about the veterans advocacy she did. And every 100 shows she's come on since then. Well, this time we were supposed to be at the guest. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But I had a weightlifting meet next weekend and it just didn't work out. But she still took time to talk with me about the importance of, veterans advocacy, about civilians and veterans advocacy, and how we got to advocate for ourselves, right? So you'll see that for like the first 20 minutes of the show. But the real like purpose I want to do this is I wanted to really profile and highlight Rolling Thunder and Rolling Thunder Mass Chapter 2. And I've known some of these people at Rolling Thunder Mass Chapter 2 for, longer than I've done Oscar Mike Radio. And, the POW-MIA thing is it just amazes me that some people think that they're all back home. We don't need to think about them anymore. And there's like over 80,000 people that are still missing, right? And I just got to know Michelle and, Pete and, James and all of them, right? And, I never felt like a stranger when I was in that group. Excuse me. And so, over time you watch, who shows up at things, do the things when no one is around with the cell phone cameras or whatever. And it's them, who gives without having to get, credit for it on, Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And then who is really committed to bringing our lost brothers and sisters home. And so I did it differently, Mikey. We start off tonight with the POW Pledge of Allegiance, which if you've never seen that before done, it will give you chills. And then we do the missing man table as part of the show with the Bible. We include the Bible in this one. It was very important to me, and they were very happy to do that. And then it starts off with, you'll see, ladies and gentlemen, a POW-MIA cage. It was an exact replica built by one of the members of Rolling Thunder Mass Chapter 2. He talks about what he did, why he did it, the process behind it. And I want you to take a look at that cage and realize they put human beings in those things for months. And that's what our service members endured. And it just underscores the thing that we should never forget, right? We should never forget. And doing this just gave me a lot of satisfaction, Mike. Yeah, it would have been easy to do this, Travis this, Travis that. You blown out of the water tonight yourself. But, some of the things that you'll see happen here at the top of the hour, wouldn't have happened otherwise. You had people that, volunteered, served, came back and served, civilians who'd never served, women who'd never served, giving them their time themselves to make life better for us veterans. You're going to hear why they did it in a very real and authentic way. And I'm just so grateful at this point to be able to do something like this. And I'm so grateful that they allow themselves to let me in and share a little bit about them with this. I'm blown away right now. I wasn't expecting, you got some powerful friends there, Mikey. But, yeah, I don't really think about it a whole lot. It's just something that I do now. But you're right. When you look at it from a podcast standpoint, he's not kidding. I think it's Blueberry, Spotify, and Apple have identified that it's about on average, most podcasts are done forever at episode 18. And there are very few podcasts that, make it past 100 episodes, and even fewer still that consistently put out a show every week. And you can look back at my episode list, on Apple or Spotify, and you'll see back to 2016 that pretty much every 7 days, sometimes more, there's been a show come out. And it's been kind of important for me to do that. It really kind of changed my life and allowed me to find a different part of myself that I didn't know was there. And I'm just so grateful right now more than anything else. I'm grateful to be able to do this. I'm grateful that people, care about it. And I'm grateful that the veteran community is getting stronger, I think. And um, we are stronger together. We shouldn't fight alone. And it's things like this with you, Mike, where, just an idea we had and we had a lot of fun with it. And we've been able to talk with people in a different way and hear their stories, or, the Mass Health Helpline, for example, all that, understand that you don't have to be out here alone. You do not have to, um, fight this fight of life alone, and you shouldn't. And I think, we both agree from what we've seen. And I'm not a trained psychologist or psychiatrist, won't pretend to be, but I really do think that it's loneliness and isolation to start people on that road to, a bad state. And which is one question I wanted to ask you. I'm kind of glad we're doing it like this, but uh, I got into this, not argument, but, I was very passionate about this because the other night I got on and played Gears of War for a while. Like what's a grown man playing video games for, Travis? Aren't you better than that? And I don't know about you, Mikey, but Gears of War for me is a special one because I was going through a very, very, very bad time in my life. And what I looked forward to was, when I didn't have anything at all. I mean, nothing for an Xbox, an internet connection, and a 32-inch, 8-year-old Samsung TV, was getting on with the bros and playing Horde mode in Gears of War, or going through one of the campaigns together. Two other guys and me, not talking about life or anything, just playing a video game. I don't know for sure, but I wonder, Mikey, how many lives have video games saved just because some person knows they got to be with a squad to roll in Warzone for COD, or, Escape from Tarkov, or, Borderlands, you name it, Destiny. We're going to do a raid tonight. We need you there. We need you with your character class. You got to come with us. And that person feels needed and wanted and accepted, and they just show up, do their thing. And I mean, I got to think that's helped people a lot more than people realize.
It does. It's given a place for them to be acknowledged, to not just, a lot of times, as you walk around today, everybody's in their phone, everybody's, dealing with themselves. You go on the train and nobody's looking at one another, and you can feel completely alone in a world full of people. So it is important that people have a place to go, and people have a place that they can connect with somebody else. Even if you look at, if you ever walked with somebody that's in a wheelchair, like, people avoid making eye contact with people in a wheelchair. And, like, if they're able to go online and, play a game for, 30 minutes to an hour, or even the whole damn night, be able to have a place where they can be themselves, connect to others, and have that camaraderie that, we had in the service. We went from having somebody there for us 24/7, whether we liked it or not. And, anything that happened, you had somebody to bounce it off of, trouble with a girl, somebody bounced it off of, a death in the family, somebody bounced it off of, you never dealt with anything by yourself when you were in the military.
Nope.
And then you get out and you're by yourself. And I think that's one of the hardest things that folks deal with. And I think the biggest thing that I see that Oscar Mike Radio has done is created a community through your episodes, through allowing people to watch an episode and connect with a previous guest, being able to say, hey, I have an issue with this. Oh, Mikey, I just did an episode on this, a couple back, check it out and see if, reach out to them and see if they can help you out with something. Doing things like that allows us to understand what's actually out there, because there is so much help. There is so much, organizations that are doing good things that aren't highlighted by mainstream media, that aren't highlighted, in our algorithms online, because it's not, rage bait. It's not, sexy. It's not something that, will get a lot of clicks and views. but it's something that matters and it's something that we need to show. And your episodes of Oscar Mike Radio are doing just that.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's, I there's so much I don't know. I wouldn't call myself an expert in anything, but I know that people still want, at the end of the day, they want to feel connected. They want a good story. I still go back to those cave paintings they found over there. They're 10,000 years old, about the, hey, I got up today and I went hunting for food, honey. I got myself a woolly mammoth or something like it. That's what it looks like. And 10,000 years later, we're still talking about it. And I think of the time where up until about 150 years ago, you got around the fire and you told stories. Aesop's fables, the Canterbury Tales, all that stuff. And we've largely gone away from that. But still, I mean, this is a way we can kind of get back to it. There's no fire here. We're not outside. We're not in the middle of the winter, but we can get online, tell some story, and learn from that. I mean, that's the kind of wild thing about humanity, is there for thousands and thousands of years, knowledge was passed orally. It wasn't really until the printing press that things started changing. I mean, think about that. Yeah, Aesop's fables. Yes, I'm old, but it holds true. It holds true. And I met Mikey through the podcast, and we were working with another Marine and what he was doing, and he came out and talked and about what he was doing in his story, and I heard your challenges and your journey through your challenges and what you had to do, and in a lot of ways we're similar in that regard. And you had this cool thing with video games, and again, like I said, I know video games get a bad rap, but I'm also like, well, it's hard to feel sad when you're with your bros, and I speak from experience. It was hard being in the dumps when you held off the 10th wave of the Horde and Gears of War, and we were had only had 2 more levels to go for that achievement. We were getting some, and video games do that in a way other things can't. And so I've tried to tell people, open up the American Legion of the VFW and have like a Switch night playing Mario Kart. You'll have people of all ages playing together. Yeah. Unreal Tournament. Oh man, I haven't played that in a while. That was the thing. So there's something for somebody, man, and you're making it happen in your way.
Yep. And that's the big thing is getting these organizations to understand the good in it, to get them to understand the way that it would be a better outreach than a bar. And it's just, until, we can get it through to them that, this generation and the next isn't really the booze bags that, they want us to be.
Right.
That, we got to change something because all these posts are shutting down. And I just wish at some point we could get a hold of, these national commanders and say, hey, we have something, we know something. How can we implement this?
Something about Twister. I've never played video games and don't even own a TV. Well, hey, man, if it's music and books, no problem. Music and books it is. You got something.
I know that when we do
I read Dune again, the Dune series again, and I read Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, man. I read a whole lot because it was library card was free.
Yeah, Connect 4. I know a big one for us on the Coffee and Camaraderie is we have the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And the kids get a huge kick out of playing that, At first they were like, what do I got to do? I was like, you got to knock the guy's head off. And then, as you get, the kids playing week after week, they understand the different games, and they come around, they're playing Trouble, they're playing, Yahtzee. They started out just only playing the Switch, and now each time they come, they play a different game. They try something new each time, and it's nice to see them, going from the video games to the board games to the different card games that we have available, and just being able to give the veterans a chance to connect and share their stories while the kids are able to to be with another veteran family. It's something that needs to be replicated and needs to be put out there more. And I don't know if we talked about this or if I talked about it with H-Town on Monday, but I just feel like there's so much empty spaces in the VA hospitals and these VA properties that why can't we get a game room, get a lounge set up somewhere, have something available for guys. You spend so much time sometimes at the VA hospital when you go for primary care, and you've got a 3-hour wait between going there, and then you got to do a blood draw, and then you got to do another appointment, and you spend hours in between the appointments sitting there. Why not have a little lounge?
Right. But yeah, let's see here. I'm going to do something right now. So,
and I had one more little promo thing that I was trying to share with folks. Just another visual aid, just to show folks that what $500 about. Keep moving forward. You're not alone. On the move, advocacy, the tribe, healing, mission in flight. You're not alone again, and everybody matters. Just these are some of the themes that resonate throughout the episodes of Oscar Mike.
well, the Everyone Matters really came to play. I was talking to Navy veteran counselor, Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn, about why he did some of the things he did, why he felt strongly about making sure veterans had a fair shake. And it's not just veterans. If we all believe that everybody matters and everybody has value and everybody deserves dignity and respect, this world will be a better place. And I know it's easy to say, but sometimes it's hard to do, and I get that. So,
Dar, can you pin that the post for?
I don't know how to do that. I don't
Oscar
think
Mike?
I can. Oh, wait, whoa.
Trying
No,
to see if the moderator can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, Sarah's asking, do VFWs need a revamp? Absolutely, they do. They need to understand what is here today and what can be done, for the next generation coming through. And one big thing that we had today, absolutely, Moni, and a little kindness does go a very long way. And the big thing that I've seen with today too was the fact that the TCAVA was shot down. So
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, we're not taking away from future generations to pay for today's. The way that they had set up the slim down Major Richard Starr Act, in that act, they would have not been able to given it to Major Richard Starr. He would not have qualified for it. And a lot of the veterans that do qualify for it would have been capped at 50%. Instead of getting my full retirement unlocked, I would have gotten a 50% retirement with that one instead of the full.
The thing that's bothering me is it just seems like, we're gonna poke the perimeter. We're gonna see just how far we can go. We're gonna see just how engaged the veterans are. We're gonna see just how loud their voice gets, and we're just gonna keep poking. And one day we're going to get something through.
That's awesome, Adam.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's good to see, some posts that are doing, good things, and, it's just, you don't want to see, post shun somebody just because, they're not somebody that's into a heavy drinker. And it's good to see, post growing and adapting with us. I do think that there's a lot more that can, that can happen, and a lot more to be said and done. And I do like that, the direction that things are going. I do think that, it is going to be a good thing in the future once, I also think our generation needs to step up and get into the seats. And we need to, do more than just talk about something and complain about things not being done. You actually have to sit in the chairs and make the difference. You can't just, be mad about, folks not changing. You have to be the change. You have to go and sit down and say, this is what we want to do for the future. I'm going to take over the junior vice. I'm going to become the senior vice. I'm going to become the commander. I'm going to put my time in to help, the veterans in my community. I'm going to help out my community as a whole. And, there's so much more that these local posts do. Like when people were mad at the Legion for backing the TC AVA, people were, out there, content creators were saying, cancel your Legion membership because of this. And it was like, why would you do such a thing? Like, if you cancel the membership, you're allowing them to win. You're not making a change, because what you need to do is you need to pass it up through your local post and say, hey, this is fucked up, and this is why it needs to change. Then that goes to district. From district, it goes to department. Department brings it to national, and then it can be made into, a point for the next year to be one of the, legislative actions that the Legion is going to take. But if you don't do that and you don't pass it up and you don't fight for it and you just walk away, you're letting them win, and you're also reducing the power that the Legion, the VFW, or the DAV has down in Washington, because they only have power because of how many people they represent.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I hope people take a hard look at the VFW and American Legion, the DAV, and you might not like your local posts. You might have gotten, and I've been there, right? I got my, I'm like, wow, they don't want me there. But at the national level, those orgs absolutely showed up to win for keeps, and they got to win for us. And that alone should make you consider, you know what? It's only like $40 a year to join my post in my town. I can give up $40. I can give up not even $1 a week to join the post and make sure that the advocates are there, because I think they're going to keep poking. We're going to keep poking and try to find and see if they can put one past us. And they almost did, but people started paying attention, and here we are. Here we are. So your money got spent right. The people did what they said they were going to do, and they kept their promise to us. And you might say to yourself, well, it's not me. It's not, I don't need that stuff. Why do I got to care about it? Because, hey, man, maybe somebody you serve with does need it. Maybe they're trying to make it. Maybe someone's not off as good as you are, or maybe you'll go down the way sometime and have something happen to you. And, oh, yeah, you got hurt, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And now all of a sudden you need those, benefits that you earn. It's not an entitlement. It's not a disbursement. We earned that. It came at a cost. So
absolutely. And the other thing is, you're not taking away from somebody else by getting your compensation and getting evaluated and getting treated for, things that happened to you while you served. You're not taking away from anyone else to get covered and to get, one of the things, that, Colonel Archer said was, veterans that don't self-identify. And there was a comment saying, there's veterans out there that don't self-identify. And that's where the moral injury comes into play, where folks are, they kind of feel like, the imposter syndrome happens and they don't feel like they're, really a true vet because they didn't, get injured. They didn't deploy. They didn't, lose a limb. They didn't, X, Y, or Z. And they try to hold themselves against, an imaginary, statue that, nobody is holding them against except for themselves. And, folks just need to know that they served, they deserve what was promised to them. End of story. I was on earlier with a Navy veteran and spoke about, how we only go where Uncle Sam sends us. We don't get to choose. We don't get to say, hey, I like to go do this. I like to go do that. You go to a unit, you're going where the unit goes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And again, you want to give one more time a recap real quick for the folks so they can know what's coming on in about 9 minutes?
Yeah, 9 minutes. I'm going to do this right now one more time. I'm putting the YouTube link in the StreamYard chat. So again, this is going to start off with Mistress Carrie, who for the last 8 years has been coming on every 100 episodes to talk about veterans advocacy and things like that. And so we got together because my schedule got all messed up. Things didn't work out quite the way they were going to. But I just respect her, and she's been nothing but gracious and nice to me, and always supportive of what I'm trying to do. And then this is a podcast coming after that with Rolling Thunder, but it's nothing like you've ever seen. Like I don't know of any other veteran podcaster who's tried doing something like that we're going to do tonight. So you're going to see just in the first 15 minutes 2 ceremonies that you're not going to see that often, and then you're going to understand. People have been asking, what's that structure by that guy in your image there? Well, you're going to find out and get a real appreciation for those who've served our country. So it's come about 8 minutes. Oscar Mike Radio Facebook page, YouTube, whatever. I'll put the YouTube link in there. Would love to have you on for the chat. It's going to be, a cool event. And, as Mikey said in podcasting, this doesn't happen very often. Not very many people get there. So if you come by tonight, I really appreciate it. And Mikey, thank you for pulling a fast 1 or 2 on me. I really well done.
Not a problem. And like I said, just proud of everything that you've created, the community that's come because of it, and just look forward to each week, what we continue to establish and create and move forward to make the veteran community a better place for us all.
Yeah, Adam, my show comes on after this. This is Mikey's show, or Mikey and my show, but primarily Mike's show. We're Resilient, We Are Wars. So it's like a 2-for-1 on field day night. Yep, that's correct.
Yep. And it's it's gonna be nice to be able to see folks, like if you can, jump in the chat. Travis is very, vocal with everything. And we'll give him a 5-minute relief so he can go take care of the facilities, grab a drink of water, and get ready for the next emotional 500 episode.
Thank you all very much for coming by tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Have a great night. And gonna have a breathing exercise to end. Enjoy the night. 500 episodes. Congratulations, Travis.
Thank you.